kind of came to the fact that play today means you're staying in the moment.
So the next game is always the most important one. So that also plays a big part in the play today.
Our coach was saying, you have a lot of talent coming in, you have a lot of experience coming back, we have the opportunity to be great, but we can't look ahead at anything.
We came off of a loss the first round against Northwestern, and we wanted to come back and kind of have that revenge moment.
The Big Ten Challenge helps us because it sets the standard.
I think starting with a tougher schedule makes us realize that we need to start off right off the bat.
I want the student athletes to play somebody that they respect because it's extra motivation in the summers. They know they need to come in fit and ready to go because we don't start slow.
I honestly love starting out with 2 hard games. It kind of just sets the tone for the season.
Give us the best teams right away. If we can handle it, awesome, that's our baseline, and if we, lose or struggle or anything, then we know what we need to work on.
Wisniewski's trying to get herself some spacing. The pass does not go to her, and Iowa, with their second goal of the day, lead it 2-0.
We had come off beating Michigan handedly. And I don't know whether they just caught us, but they got 2 early goals. But I thought it showed great maturity by our team to stick with what they were doing.
I just remember looking at our defensive line and just being like, I'm not losing. We're not losing.
If we're a man down, if we're down 2 goals, if we're down 1 goal, if the game's tied, we prepare for all of those moments.
Bruning to Madsen. Keeping it low and sweet, and we're tied up. Off with the rebound.
Not once in that game did any of us feel like we were going to lose.
Sessa with the shot, Leipzig rebound. Aaron Madsen with the goal, and Carolina with the victory in overtime, 3-2.
We just played the way we knew how to play because we were confident in that, and we were able to come back.
A big matchup environment here in Chapel Hill as the Tar Heels get set for their first home game of the 2022 campaign against the Princeton Tigers. And she scores. Game not over yet.
We had letdowns and made uncharacteristic mistakes late in the game when we should have had the game wrapped up.
Here comes the shot. It's stopped by Walbert. And North Carolina picks up the victory.
We are a very lighthearted team, and before any games or any serious moments, we really value having fun and enjoying every moment of it.
Practices can tend to get a little mundane and repetitive.
One of our sophomores, Kennedy Cliggett, loves to do the gritty before every single game. And we were like, Coach, you have to try it. It's the new thing, come on. It was something I've never thought I would see Coach do because she's always so serious when it's right before game time.
Last thing I ever wanted was to have to do a dance before the game. But when we were winning, it's I am somewhat superstitious, and there's certain things that it's well, I don't want to change it. We're doing so well. So then it became a thing.
I think throughout this season, we really learned the importance of total team defense. So yes, our defensive line being the last resort, it is your job. You need to come up with the ball if it gets down there, but the forwards and midfield also doing their job and everything that in their power so that the ball didn't get back there.
The Tar Heels will earn the 4-0 win, their first shutout of 2022. They improved to a perfect 4-0 on the season.
We worked our butts off the whole entire spring season to make our defense so much better.
And the clock expires, and this one is in the books. Carolina looking the part of one of the top teams in the country as usual.
Last year, we spent all spring. I told our team, I didn't care if we did another offensive drill until we got our defense right.
The defense has been such a core since my first year here. So 2020, when we won the national championship, they were outstanding.
I think that became really important throughout our season, being able to defend our cage and making sure that the other team couldn't get a shot off.
From the start of the season, from all the spring, we worked on defense, defense, defense. And like Coach always says, defense wins championships.
In front of a capacity crowd, the number 2 North Carolina Tar Heels start 8-0 for the 3rd time in the last 5 years.
"30 minutes gone by and a 3-0 lead for North Carolina."
And we had a 3-goal lead at the half. It was really kind of the second half. And I blame myself a little bit. You know, when we start subbing early, it subliminally, it sends the wrong message.
I think our trip to BC was probably a turning point in our season. We didn't play our best, which is fine. We still came out with the win.
We could win 5-0 and still be really disappointed in ourselves. So I think that also makes this team special, but it was definitely a turning point overall, and that BC game was just like a headache.
The number 1 team in the country holds on for a 4-3 road victory and remains undefeated.
We did the film and they were basically like, you know, trying to problem solve, like how can we take the game from here, turn it around, and like get better from this game.
Like, how can we improve from this game? Because we had those shutouts, and then we played a game and we only won 4-3. Like, where can we go back to the drawing board? How can we get better for this next game?
A beautiful fall afternoon here in New England. Hanging out, watching a couple of top 15 programs tangle.
I remember Coach saying, like, thank goodness we're playing here, because if we make it, like, this is where we're gonna be playing, we gotta get used to it.
Not that we were assuming that we would get there, but to have the chance to play on where the national championship is going to be held, I think was important for our team.
That was our first time there, and I don't even know how long Coach said, but in a very long time.
From the circle, a drive saved by Strecker, and the follow-up is buried as North Carolina extends its lead even further.
I think it was more towards the UConn game that we really realized that we could do this if we had each other's backs and play the way we knew how we could play.
Karen Shelton Stadium in Chapel Hill provides the backdrop for a meeting of the ACC's last 2 national champions. They've got the pieces to do it again. 11th ranked Syracuse and undefeated number 1 North Carolina.
I cannot express enough how much our alums have been so supportive and amazing throughout this whole entire season, especially. They were a huge part in us winning this year.
It's always fun to have our alums back, and they just love it. They had such a great experience here, and I love that they connect with the current team. It is so important for our culture that our kids feel supported. You know, it was a great crowd.
It's really cool to be so connected with everyone just because they're a Tar Heel, but especially Carolina field hockey.
It's almost like we are related to them because they all just want what they had and what they have come from, and they want to give back, and it's an awesome environment.
So offensively, they're in the circle yet again. It's Matson to a backhand, and it goes! And Aaron Matson stands alone. The all-time leading point scorer in Atlantic Coast Conference field hockey history.
So I think what felt different to me was this was post-COVID, and we finally could recognize and celebrate her outstanding achievements on field.
She really pushes the standard and really makes everybody on the same page, like lights out basically is what she wants from every single person. And you can only want to give that back.
The point thing I heard when the guy on the loudspeakers came over after it happened that was like, oh, she is now the leading point scorer, whatever. And I was like, oh, and I was like running down the field. I'm like, that's cool.
And North Carolina, dominant effort today to knock off Syracuse by a 6-1 final score.
All really good wins, and you know, St. Joe's had beaten us the year before. So that was a big win for us. Virginia's a conference win. We solidified the top seed by beating Virginia. So all of them had real meaning.
It kind of was like a wake-up call for us defensively because we've been kind of easy sailing throughout this like middle part of the season, and then it got to Virginia and we were like, oh my gosh, like we're experiencing pressure that we haven't seen since Iowa and Michigan.
Megan Hengerer, the junior, out of New Jersey, plays it in, top of the circle, shot kicked aside by the Tar Heel keeper, still in the circle, second shot goes wide.
Being a senior and it being my last year here, it was kind of special.
Well, this is a great senior class for Karen Shelton that has meant so much to the program and where the program is.
I was able to have my parents walk on the field, which is awesome. My dad decided to get the crowd all fired up. And I was like, you are so embarrassing.
It was supposed to be the last game on Karen Shelton Stadium, but we all knew deep down it wasn't going to be the last game, which made it a little bit more lighthearted.
Heck gets your feet around, blanket ball over the top, and it's a goal! Carolina on the board.
Riley's hand skills are like incredible, and she uses a lot of 3D skills. So like every time she does go in, like she has a really good flick right to the top corner. And they played honestly a really hard-fought game against us, which was a good game going right into postseason ACC tournament play.
I made a point in the pregame meeting. I said, Erin, have you ever lost Duke? She said no.
This time it's Ricardo on the stick stop. Matson the shot, Matson the goal.
I'll never forget my freshman year sitting in our film room and coach came in and it was like, freshmen, this is the rivalry day, you know, this is part of being a Tar Heel. And every single day she said, every single time we played them, she said the same thing. It's really cool to be able to say we never lost to Duke. And my class never will.
For the 5th time in program history, the North Carolina Tar Heels complete an undefeated regular season.
Semi-final Wednesday from Durham, North Carolina. It's the 5 seed Syracuse taking on the top-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels.
When the Syracuse game came around, we knew it was going to be a tough one. It's very hard to beat a team 3 times. And then the Virginia game came, and that was probably one of the hardest games that we've had.
Everybody plays against Carolina like it's the best day of their life. Like they have to literally, like it's the national championship to them. And it's always the worst whenever we lose to them, anybody, because it's like we lost the national championship.
One of the things that I loved about this team is that we did have the gift of fury. Get out there, go after it. You know, you play with a relentlessness, and I think this team did that. And they didn't have to win, but they wanted to win, and they showed their fury.
I think both of those games were really, really important games that set the tone for defense postseason. I think we defended really well and we attacked really well as a team in that game.
Big swipe, and it's tipped in for the goal. Riley Hick was there for the tip-in and the insurance for the Tar Heels.
You know, the goals don't need to be pretty, it just needs to get in the back of the net, stuff like that. And I think we started, at least as a whole collective group, to really understand that when we played Syracuse, because, you know, it wasn't pretty, it was physical, and we weren't playing that well.
It's so funny looking back at the film. Whenever we would like do something good or something, the girls on the sideline, like our bench would go crazy.
And the 2022 ACC Field Hockey Most Valuable Player from North Carolina, number 2, Meredith Shoulder.
I was honestly really surprised. I wasn't expecting it.
North Carolina, an unprecedented 6th consecutive ACC championship, 3-2 over Virginia.
It was nice to celebrate on Duke's Field afterwards and get all the pictures with the trophy on that blue turf.
"12 seconds into the game, Delaware has their first corner. Carr's insert, Beckerman's Duffhouse drag flick, and Delaware is up on top.
We're expecting her to drag all the way down to our goalie's stick side. Nope, she comes right at me, right at my face, like mid-height. I remember coming into the huddle and just being like, yep, that's my fault, guys, sorry. And everyone's like, no, it's fine. Like, it's no one's fault in this team. Like, we're coming back and we're scoring and we're basically just shoving it in their throats.
It was just like, whoa, okay, settle in. First minute of the game, like, let's figure this out, and we're not losing this.
And they led for a few minutes, and then we got going. So proud of our team for not, freaking out when you go down. They'd only been down once previously in the season, a second game of the year.
It took a little bit to get our feet under us and everything, but once the first one went in, I think we all knew the floodgates were going to open.
We're going right back at them, and we're going to score as many goals as we can right back at them.
But North Carolina showing why they are #1 as all the goals were scored in the first half. They defeat the Delaware Blue Hens by the score of 5-1.
I think our ability to stay composed in a survive and advance fashion when we're a goal down was really important.
The 2022 NCAA Division I Field Hockey Championships has reached quarterfinal Sunday. After today, 4 teams will have booked their ticket to Storrs, Connecticut, and the Final Four.
The quarterfinal game that gets you to the Final Four is the hardest one to win, because there's just so much at stake. And in our program, if you don't make the Final Four, that's a bad year.
They came off of an A10 championship, so we knew that they were going to come into our place. They played on our field before, kind of giving everything that they had that game.
So the night before the St. Joe's game, I texted Aaron and was like, hey, like, I don't know what's going on, but like, I literally have no confidence right now. Like, I'm lacking outcomes. Like, can you just like watch some film with me? So we sat down, we're watching, and she's like, P, everything you're doing, like, you're there. Like, just keep doing it. And then the next day, it was like that.
Matson comes up to it, Blake Mellon stops it, second shot, they can't keep it out. Carolina takes the lead in the 10th minute, and it's Peyton Worth who puts Carolina on top. Worth again with another insert. 5th corner of the match, this time it's to Ricardo, who sets up Matson, and what a goal it is! Worth picks it off. Worth, Matson, it's 3-0. Erin Matson gets her 2nd of the day, and it was created by the passing from the Tar Heels, the dribbling of Worth.
Honestly, that was the turning point we needed.
Carolina is going to head to their 26th Final Four.
It's not always pretty, when you get to the Final Four. Everybody's nervous and everybody wants it so bad. So I don't care if it's ugly, I just want to find a way to win, and I think they do too.
Welcome back to Storrs, Connecticut. Semifinal game number 1, North Carolina and Penn State.
Penn State, we haven't played them since 2007. We beat them for the championship 3-0.
So whenever I found out we were playing them, I started sweating. It was not something that I ever wanted to see. I never thought that would happen, but I'm very thankful it did happen, because I can honestly say it was like my final closure to there. I wanted nothing more than to beat Penn State.
I'm from Pennsylvania, so obviously it was like very personal for me to play Penn State, just because I know the people. We were like, we can't lose, we can't lose.
So we had to defend their top 2 players. Mackenzie Alessi, this one kid, and Glado, the scorer. And those kids deserved attention. They're good players, both former national team players, and we had to use team defense against them.
So we knew that defense was extremely important this game. So making sure that they didn't even get a touch or even a shot on cage was so important, just because of all the different shots that different players on their team had.
And then, of course, Aaron, when we play great defense, you see, Aaron, Heck, Sessa, they have the ball more. But Erin does what she does, and she makes things happen and scores goals, and thrilling to see her get records in the process.
Sliding it through. Broken up by Schnars once again. She has been solid. Second opportunity, and the 2nd goal of the day for Erin Matson.
I'm very honored. I'm glad it happened with this group. I'm glad it happened in the tournament against, Penn State.
That's a good job defensively there by Elena Voss. Breaks it up, slows things down. Look out, Baracco with the save, second and third chance opportunity. And it's Peyton Worth with the goal, 3-0 Tar Heels.
She scored and she transferred from there, so it was kind of like I was really, really happy for her. Like I started tearing up on the field for her just because I was really happy for her.
I blacked out. I just was like, holy shit, Erin, we're literally going to the national championship. We have done it. It was like the game was over. It was the best feeling, and I'll never be able to top, honestly, that feeling.
When Peyton scored, this adrenaline rush burst through me, and I just sprinted over to her to hug her. And Ashley Sessa was like, Mare, you completely bodied me out of the way, getting to Peyton. And I was like, I'm sorry, all I was thinking about was Peyton in that moment. She scored, it was a big deal.
And that will do it. North Carolina wins it 3-0, the celebration. And actually we have a time on the field. 3-0 the final for the Tar Heels.
It's Kirsten Tanasi, number 35, and it's Ashley Sessa, number 3. Just a casual day here in Stores, Connecticut, and we're off to the national championship. See you there. See ya!
Welcome to Nancy Stevens Field, the University of Connecticut at Stores, where today we will crown a field hockey champion in Division I. It's the number 2 seed Northwestern against the top seed in Carolina.
I was glad for that matchup simply because they did beat us the year before.
We didn't want them to feel the back-to-back feeling. We're like, we're not losing this.
The van was a complete surprise. Found out that they were driving up from the football game through the night to surprise us and be there was honestly amazing.
It's the Focky Band, and we started this several years ago where they're ours. And to have them there playing in that cold weather, it's a commitment to us.
Tar Heels in white, light jerseys. Nice slide pass up to Sessa, looking to eliminate. Hell whistle, and we will have a penalty stroke. Erin Matson will take the stroke. She is 5 for 5 on the season. Team is 6 for 6 on the year. And turned away by Scoobish.
I didn't take a deep breath. I just went and I went to the other side. And then jogging back, I was like, wait, that's not what was supposed to happen in my head.
Here's Benta on her backhand. Stops. Rene Ricardo got back and a little hesitation there.
You talk about a clutch play. Rene Ricardo coming up huge for the Heels defense there.
Just so proud of our defense for getting back.
I don't think I've ever seen her sprint that fast.
As I'm running back, I see there's a Northwestern player way higher than me where I don't even know if I'm going to catch her. So I'm probably sprinting as fast as I've ever sprinted in my whole entire life.
That moment was also a turning point in that game because from there, Bentebacher's literally was like, oh my gosh. I think it kind of shocked her because she was expecting to score.
The corner is now inserted. Deke again and up over the top and tipped in. I believe it was Riley Heck who got a stick on it. And the Tar Heels are on the board.
And it comes out, looks like Erin's gonna shoot it. It's faked, passed across to Sietska, who then sweeps it to a waiting Riley Heck that tips it up and in. But I think that's six things we did perfectly that led to the goal.
2 minutes to go, roughly. And they look for a corner, and the Wildcats get the corner call.
I was like, okay, we know exactly what they are going to do. We have seen it so many times. They did it in the game before against Maryland.
Goes to Benta, the big swipe and a score! The Wildcats have tied it up!
It was the exact corner that we guessed that it was going to be, and she executed it beautifully.
It was a great sweep. She executed it, and it went in, and it was just like, ugh, for a second. And then it was like, nope, we're not doing that.
That was mentality in that circle where, like, this game isn't going into overtime. Like, we're finding a way to score a goal.
We did not just dominate that entire game for them to score like that, okay? We are not losing this game. No matter what it takes, we are winning.
Because statistics show that the other team gets fired up, the one that scores has a relaxation response. So a lot of times goals are scored in the 2 minutes following your goal. So they're thinking overtime. But then Romay had a beautiful pass over the top, corralled by Peyton Worth, who cuts back inside, gets it in front of the goal for who else? Aaron Matson, to get a touch in front of that goalkeeper.
Peyton Worth with the goal has given the Carolina Tar Heels the advantage. And they've actually given the goal to Aaron Matson.
And when you see space, it's a perfect opportunity to throw that aerial ball instead of trying like hit through players.
That was a pass. That wasn't just throwing it away.
It was awesome because I literally looked up and all I heard was like the back of the goal being hit. And it was like, oh my God, we're done. Like, we did it.
We all just came together, and that was my favorite celebration by far of the year.
I ran over to Sietska, gave her a hug, and I was like, we have 1:30 left. All we need to do is defend.
Peyton Worth taking as much time as she possibly can. And the Wildcats just trying to converge on the ball right now.
To simply control the ball, keep it away from the other team. So we were able to pretty much control it for that minute 19.
I kept winding down, 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 down. Right at that moment, we were like, oh my God, I think I started jumping up, I threw my stick.
And the Carolina Tar Heels have completed the undefeated season for the 6th time, culminating to their 10th unprecedented national championship.
So I went over to try and corral them, you know, and then they just started cheering, and I got in the middle, and then they hoisted me up. So it was you know, special for me. I think, you know, made me feel really good for them and for our program. But I really had to tell them we need to go over and shake Northwestern's hand.
Jeff comes up to me and he's like, Erin, like really quick before you go see your family, we're gonna recreate this, and shows me the iconic picture. And I was like, oh, that's sick, like awesome. What do you have, like a cigar for me? Like completely kidding. And he's like, yeah, here it is, and whips it out. I was like, no way you have a cigar to take this picture and everything. And it was like, drape the shirt over your shoulder, hold the trophy, put the 4 up, and it was sick. Yes, Mary, over Maryland in 2018. Second year was Prince over Princeton, 2019. Third year was Mitch over Michigan here. And then this one is named Northwestern. We were thinking about Kat, but North, Kim K, shout out. Yeah, North sounds good.
We get a natty, like a blingy ring, and then we get like a wearable ring, which is what we have done.
We love rings, you know us girls, so it's fun to have a lot of them.
All right, same time next week.
I do think getting to 10 was special for our team. You know, they do sit atop now the field hockey mountain, and I'm proud of them for that.
Karen Shelton, the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. It doesn't get old. 42 years as a head coach of Carolina.
Now they sit atop, all alone, with double digits, national championships.
Now coming to Karen Shelton Stadium and being one of the best field hockey facilities we have in the country is insane. And that's just all to show like what she has done.
She has the most national championships. I think that was a really, really big milestone for her and a really big accomplishment.
Every player that I've known that has gone through her program and telling us how thankful they are for Coach and how it sets them up for life and all of the skills that you acquire from, you know, being coached by Karen Shelton.
But I'm honored to be part of that last play. I'm honored to have done it with Erin by her side, with Coach. She's a huge legacy and will always live on at Carolina Field Hockey.
What she has done here has been remarkable, what she's done for our sport, what she's done across the nation. I don't think I'm ever going to have to, you know, say goodbye to her. I think we're bonded for life.
And, you know, I've just been trying to make Carolina proud of our program. That's always what's driven me, is to make our university proud of our program by winning championships and doing it the right way. That's what drives me.